Yeah, definitely encourage everyone to take notes if you feel called to, if you just want to memorize some of the stuff, because we're going to be going through a lot of information. I have 15 pages of notes to get through, but I'm going to try to keep it quick and concise, but either way, so excited. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I do this right. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can see just the screen that has the masterclass. Yeah? Okay, perfect. This is what we're going to be going off of. If anything changes at any time, just yell at me. But yeah, I'm so happy you guys could all make it. If anyone pops in last minute, I'm gonna, like I said, this is recorded, so I'm gonna post it afterwards. But either way, I'm just so glad you guys took some time out of your day to spend with me. I'm really, really excited. And kind of the point of this masterclass is really just designed to help you clear the confusion around the health and wellness world, because there is a lot of information and misinformation out there. And I just really want to help you understand your body and walk away from this having such clarity in your health and knowing what steps to take, because I think that is so, so powerful. So a little bit about me. My name is Michaela. For those who don't know, I am a certified nutritional practitioner. I have been running my business Groundwork for almost 3 years now, and I absolutely love it. I'm so, so grateful for it. But I would be lying if I said this was the path I always knew I wanted to go down. Believe it or not, I actually spent 2 years studying criminal justice before getting sick and having to completely reroute my entire life, my education, everything. I was really just trying to get back to who I was, let alone find true lasting health. My health journey has been a long one, so I'm going to give you a little debrief of it. But it started when I was around 14. I got heavily involved into the gym world and fitness. And by the time I was 17 at university, this is what I looked like. And I'm showing you this because the crazy part about this is that I didn't think I was lean enough. I thought I had so much work left to do. And I did this in an extremely restrictive way. I was eating 800 to 1200 calories a day, which if you know me on Instagram, you know that is not okay. And I'm not about that anymore. I was exercising 2 hours a day. I was walking 10,000 steps a day, which is great. But on top of all this, that is a lot of stress. And like I said, I did it in a really restrictive way, which is so damaging for the body and is going to end up biting you in the butt later on, which it did. So kind of traveling on a timeline, about a year later, this is what I looked like. I'm very Rudy Nudie up in this top left photo, but I tried to crop out as much as possible. But I had extreme bloat. I was in pain all the time. I had severe painful acne, as you can see on the right side. Like I said, I was bloated. I lost my period for 1.5 years. I ended up anxious and depressed. I was losing my hair. I was chronically fatigued. My thyroid function was so low. I had worked my body to the point of extreme restriction, and you're going to hit a breaking point. And that's what happened for me. I had no idea where any of this came from. And it was so incredibly frustrating and heartbreaking and so hard to go through, not only physically, but also mentally. I knew that this wasn't me, and I knew that I wasn't destined to live like this, so I wasn't going to settle for it. So began 3 years of trial and error. It was a lot. It was a lot of guidance, a lot of misguidances, a lot of diets and trends and fads, supplements and doctors, and trying everything that I possibly could to heal, because I knew there was more out there for me. But I was exhausted. I was frustrated. I was fed up, and I was just so frustrated with being let down by all the medical systems, Western and holistic. And I became really resentful of my body as well, which is a place that I never want you to experience, because it is so, so frustrating. And I want you to love and appreciate your body. And that's what I want to walk through in the next hour with you. So I eventually found healing through, I had corrective surgeries in my jaw because it ended up being an infection in my jaw from a wisdom tooth extraction. I spent months healing my gut, dealing with blood sugar management. I took better care of my liver, of my thyroid, of my metabolism, and just kind of covering all those bases. And from this experience, it was long and it was hard and it was painful, but I wanted to help others. And that's what pushed me to find nutrition and to go to school again for the 3rd time for nutrition, because as painful as it was to get here physically and mentally, I wouldn't change a thing, because it changed my life in more ways than one. And now it lets me help other people, which I'm so, so grateful for. And that's why I love connecting with you. I truly believe that there is nothing more powerful than understanding your body and giving it what it needs, because there is nothing nothing is worth the pain of going through the Band-Aid cover-ups and the supplements and the trial and error. And when you understand your body, it is worth so much more than that, because your body knows exactly what to do. It will heal. It will never lead you in the wrong direction as long as you sit back and listen to it. And that is why I wanted to go through this masterclass, was to come together as a group to understand that no matter where you are in your health or what you're dealing with, there is a way to navigate it. There's a way that doesn't involve a quick fix or a Band-Aid cover-up or wasted time and money, because like I said, there's so much information out there that I really want to help you clear that confusion. So yeah, just with a quick yes or no, head nod, thumbs up. Have you ever felt that feeling of overwhelm when it comes to health and the information out there, feeling like you have no idea what's right and what's wrong? Because I have felt that. Yeah, seeing lots of head nods. Absolutely. It is so frustrating. So in this masterclass, you will learn how your past impacts your present and your future. We're going to talk about how old patterns can influence your health, same way with the restriction mindset that I had way back when, and how it ended up coming back to bite me in the butt. How to identify damaging patterns that are hindering your progress, and how to spot a diet or trend, and then healthy alternatives rather than that. There's a fun announcement at the end, so I'd love if you could stick around, which I'm really excited for. But to do this and to get to the point of what I want to say, I'm going to tell a story through my client, Abby. I changed her name, but she gave me permission. So Abby, like I said, I want to run through her health because I think it's really going to help you recognize some things in yourself, or at least I hope it does. So I really want you to pay attention to what she went through, what we ran through together. Do you recognize yourself in her? Maybe someone you know or someone you love. I really want you to see if her experiences resonate with you, because in her healing, I think you're going to find clarity in your own health, which is so powerful. So Abby is a 32-year-old mom of 2. She is the youngest child of 6 from her mom, which we are going to chat about a little bit later. She was on birth control from the time she was 18 for acne and painful periods. She's been on antibiotics twice in the last year, and then she had heartburn after her second pregnancy. So she was on proton pump inhibitors, which are acid blocking drugs, for about 8 months. And all of this is going to be relevant later on, but just hold on to it. Symptoms that she came to me experiencing were broken sleep. She was bloated, constipated, dealing with all types of digestive issues. She was exhausted throughout the day, but then having trouble sleeping at night. Painful PMS, thinning hair, and an inability to lose weight. So these are the big ones. But what we're going to do is kind of a 3-step process. So we're going to run through the pieces of the puzzle. So basically exploring how Abby's habits and patterns and routines and what she was doing in her life and her health contributed to where she's now in this moment, or where she was when we started working together. We're going to talk about the step before action. And what I mean by this is the mindset shift that has to come first before you jump into healing. Because if you don't have that down and you don't have that foundation down, it can lead to a really shaky future in the action that you're going to take. And then the next one is how to right the ship. So we're just going to talk about the steps, the adjustments, the reframes that we had to do to get her to a place where she was happy and satisfied in her health, and kind of how to reframe those old habits that she was doing so that we can find true success. And that is such an important part. So we're going to start with pieces of the puzzle and where she was. And I feel like you guys already know what's going to come next, which is 1,200 calories. So many people are eating in this really restrictive mindset. 1,200 calories, you've heard me say this before, it is the nutritional requirement of a 2 to 3-year-old. A grown woman needs so many more calories than that. We're talking around 2,000 or more. But these diet stats that I'm going to share with you, I really want you to think about them, because they will really impact the way you see dieting and the way you see your body. So 80% of people who lose weight on diets eventually will gain it back, and 99% of diets fail. That is a huge percentage, and so frustrating. And the next one, which is huge, is that
you can watch yours.
Is that most girls start dieting at the age of 8. 8-year-old girls are starting to diet. That is the average age, which is unbelievable. Yes, Kelly, I see your jaw on the floor. I am the exact same way. It is unreal. It is so heartbreaking to think about that, because that is the last thing that they should be thinking about. But we have slowly turned back the clock on when we start thinking about this. And the next one is that people on average start 1 new diet a year. So let's take Abby. Let's be generous and say she started her dieting journey at 12, all the way up until 32. That is 20 years of dieting, 20 new diets, 20 attempts at something that is already set up to fail with a 99% failing rate. and 20 times getting your hopes up or getting her hopes up that result in feeling defeated and frustrated, and then asking herself why she has this feedback loop of negative thoughts and negative self-talk going on. It's damaging, and it takes a toll not only on your mental health, but on your physical health as well, because dieting, especially a low-calorie diet, has an effect on your gut health, on your liver, your mineral status, brain fog and mental clarity, blood sugar, your metabolism. The reason is because under-eating is a stress on the body. So you're going to hear me talking about stress a lot in the next hour or so. When you think about stress, I want you to think chemical, physical, emotional. So a chemical stress could be a medication you're on, it could be glyphosate in the environment. A physical stress could be a spinal misalignment, it could be a car accident, and then emotional stress, we all know what that feels like. Regardless of where the stress is coming from in your body has the exact same physiological reaction every single time. What happens is your body's going to pull nutrients from non-essential functions towards life-preserving mechanisms. So, for example, menstrual health. You don't need to be fertile to survive, so your body's going to pull energy and nutrients away from that area. Digestion, you need digestion to live, but you don't need perfect digestion. So you might be constipated or bloated or have trouble digesting your food. Brain fog is something that a lot of people experience on a low-calorie diet, because the last thing your body's going to do is keep you sharp and on the ball all the time, right? And then same thing with your metabolism. You burn less to preserve, because your metabolism, think of it like a fire. You have to have logs in the fire to help it burn. You have to be fueling your body and eating more in order to burn more. And we run into a lot of issues in that area, and Abby did as well. Moving on to number 2, you've definitely heard me talk about this one before, but it's intermittent fasting. This is a really, really common one, but especially when it comes to women, I want you to remember that the female body is more sensitive and less resilient to change in calorie intake and energy balance, because fasting can trigger a stress response that, again, leads to these issues with digestion and hormonal health and mental clarity. A lot of the studies done on intermittent fasting are done on men, and men, for the men that are in here, you guys are very, very lucky. You live on a 24-hour hormonal cycle, so your testosterone rises in the morning and then dissipates throughout the day, whereas women live on a 28-day cycle, or the menstrual cycle. So every week we're going through a new phase. We have different needs for calories and nutrients and all the rest. So to apply the same principles can be really, really hard. Hi, Hazel. I just saw you jump in. So happy to see you here. So the reason I'm not a fan is because fasting is a way of running off of your stress hormones. So if you've ever seen someone that is intermittent fasting, they are like, I feel so great, I have so much energy, I feel so awesome. It's because your adrenals are pumping out cortisol. So your adrenals are 2 glands that sit on top of each kidney, and they're like the battery packs of your body. They're responsible for pumping out cortisol. They're very, very needed, cortisol, but when you are overworking them, they run kind of on a teeter-totter with your thyroid. So when your adrenals are high and you're constantly in this stress state, your thyroid's going to lower, which is what happened in Abby's case. So you end up low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, which again, all of those things were the goal of intermittent fasting in the first place. So it really does come back around, and it's something that we really have to be aware of, especially as women. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the next one, which is intense exercise. So Abby was kind of a low impact sedentary lifestyle kind of gal. And then when she decided that weight loss was the goal, jumped into high intensity, high impact workouts. And again, coming back to those adrenal glands, they are working so hard to keep up. And that's a huge, huge stress on the body. This is going to be one of those physical stresses we were talking about. And you're going to run into symptoms like chronic muscle soreness, chronic fatigue, constipation, an inability to relax. So you're going to be stuck in this fight or flight state constantly, insomnia, mood swings, a weakened immune system. It all does come back around. And these are kind of the steps that she took to get to the place where she's going to be. So then we're going to have to kind of take steps backwards to get to where she wants to be in her health. The last one is mindset. And this is going to bring me into the second point that I talked about, which is kind of the step before action. And that is finding clarity through connection. So what I mean by this is there are huge disconnects in our world right now. Especially with COVID over the last 2 years, we became so disconnected from each other, from our friends, from our family, our communities. And one of the biggest things I see my clients doing is ignoring connections between healthy relationships and a healthy body, because nothing works in isolation. So again, quick thumbs up, head nod. How many of you have ever been in a painful situation, a relationship, a friendship, and it's really taken away from your ability to feel like you? It's taken a toll on your self-worth. It's taken energy away. Yeah, we've all been there, because it really does pull energy away from you, and it's going to put it towards something that never deserved your energy in the first place, right? So again, this is a mental stress on the body, but it's also a physical stress on the body, because painful, stressful relationships and situations put your nervous system into overdrive. So again, you are constantly pumping out cortisol, your stress hormone, and your body is in this fight or flight state constantly, and it is a big, big toll on the body. So then same thing like we talked about earlier, your body's going to pull resources away from those non-essential functions. So you're going to run into issues like gut health and hormonal health and mental clarity and energy production and thyroid function. But then you're like, how does my relationship, my stressful relationship, impact my gut health? It's because there is no disconnect. The body is so intimately connected. It's incredible, but we often forget that, and we've slowly become disconnected from that. The other really big disconnect that I'm seeing is within the body, or more so forgetting that all the body systems are connected, like I was mentioning. Nothing works in isolation, but we have become so accustomed towards reaching for the quick fixes, whether that is severe restriction, like I mentioned, I did myself earlier, cleanses, detoxes, resets, testing the waters with every possible popular diet out there. We've really forgotten that quick gratification and those quick results you get, they don't last, and they don't provide the body with that solid foundation that you need to build health. And you'll hear me talk about a foundation a lot over the next few minutes, because without that foundation first, you cannot build on top of that. It's going to be a very, very shaky situation that you built yourself. So I really want you to remember that healing is absolutely possible. Your body is so capable of it, because there is nothing the human body does better than heal. It's unbelievable. But we can literally think ourselves out of making progress. And here are some examples. One, the mind to muscle connection has been proven over and over to increase muscle activation, muscle force, and muscle power when working out. Mental stress can physically block you from achieving the big O during sex. And in men, it comes with erectile dysfunction. This is, again, a proven fact. Stress depletes the body of nutrients like magnesium and potassium, vitamin C. And again, it's going to push us into this chronic fight or flight state, which then we have issues with digestion and proper nutrient absorption. And that mental stress can actually cause physical pain within the body. So again, it's just this big puzzle that everything is so connected, which is incredible, but also means we have to be a little bit more aware of it, right? When we believe that we can heal, the body responds accordingly. If we don't believe we can heal, again, the body responds accordingly. If we constantly tell ourselves that we're never going to reach the progress that we want, we never will. That's exactly what's going to happen. So before we jump into the physical stuff, I really want to start with simplicity and just reframing and talking about the mental stuff, because it is seriously life-changing. I really want you to remember these stats and just these facts, because they're so, so interesting, and it's really going to help reframe the way you think about yourself and your body and your health. So number one, negative thoughts outnumber the amount of positive thoughts we have a day, and they also have a deeper, more intense impact on the body than positive thoughts do. As humans, we recall insults easier than we do praise, which is crazy. If you think back to a time when you were younger, you can probably remember something some mean little kid said to you, because I know I can. But if you try to think of some praise someone gave you when you were 7, you probably don't remember it, which is crazy. 80% of our thoughts are negative. 80% that we have every single day are negative. No matter what it's about, they're negative. That's what our body and our brain reaches for. And 95% of our thoughts are repetitive. So if we do the math on that, that is a constant stream of negative thoughts over and over and over throughout the day, which really brings our focus into our failings and makes us unsure about our abilities. So it's going to make us unsure about our ability to heal and our body's ability to heal, which is really, really frustrating. And it makes our mind make unfair judgments about ourselves and our behavior and our integrity and the possibilities that are right in front of us. So we're constantly thinking that, no, I'll never be good enough for this. Or, you know what, I'm just not integral enough to do this. Or I don't think my body's capable of that. Or maybe this isn't the right choice for me. It's just bringing us into the negative over and over and over. And that's why we have to really start actively changing or at least trying to actively decrease the amount of negative thoughts we have, which I know is hard. And it does take active work, but it is the first thing you have to do before you start healing is reframing. So the best ways to do that are writing down everything that you want for your body and your health. There is no such thing as being too detailed or too picky. Just write it down. Anything and everything that you want for your body and for your health. I want you to write down every single thing and then slowly check them off or go through them and see, okay, what's the most important? Let's prioritize those ones and then move your way through that list. I have a list in every part of my life for this, for my business, for my relationships, for my health. I want all of these things to be so detailed for you. Remind yourself constantly and consistently how capable you are of healing, and surround yourself with people, whether that's me as a nutritionist or whether that's your mom or your friends or your partner, with people who know and believe that you are so capable of healing. When I was dealing with those health issues, I had my rocks, the people in my life, like my mom, who never let me sway in my belief that I could heal and always kept me anchored in that knowledge that it's possible and that I can get there. And she believed in me. And having those people in your life is seriously such a game changer. It is so important. And the last one is just to be annoyingly kind with yourself, to the point where you're even getting annoyed with yourself. Be so kind to yourself, even when it feels impossible, even when it's the last thing you want to do. Tell yourself that you're capable, tell yourself that you're competent, that you're confident, and that you can do this, and that your body's worth healing. And it'll get really annoying because you'll constantly be talking to yourself, but it is so worth it, because eventually your mind just slowly shifts towards seeing that first and seeing the issues last. Okay, we're moving on to the third part, which is kind of how to right the ship and cover the foundation. So like I said, I'm going to mention foundations a lot, and this is just really how to build a solid foundation for health that you can build the rest of your life off of. So ironically, the reason I named my business Groundwork is because it is the process of doing the work in preparation for the work that needs to be done. It is the foundational work. It's how you lay the foundation. It's that preliminary work, and it's the cornerstone of progress, because without the groundwork laid or without the foundation, nothing can be built on top of that in a solid way or in a way that's going to last. So the best examples of this are, if you want a marriage to work, you have to have a strong foundation in your relationship first. If you want that job that you've always wanted, you have to have a strong understanding of your knowledge base in that field in order to achieve that job and to have a solid understanding in it. If you want long-term sustainable health, you have to do the groundwork first to prepare for the success that comes afterwards. Otherwise, it's built, like I said, on a very shaky foundation. And what this means is stepping away from the fancy trends, the complicated protocols, the diets, the fads, the things that really distract you from the fact that there is no shortcut to your health. As much as we all want one, there isn't. So like I said, the reason this is so important is because it sets you up for the long term. But when we skip the foundations, two things will happen. One, the result you achieve will never last. We have all been there. But when that groundwork is never laid, there's no preparation for a sustainable future beyond that 6-week shred or whatever the case may be. It's just focus on that short time period. And then afterwards, you're like, okay, what do I do? Like, what's next for my body, right? The second thing is that decisions will be made out of a mindset or a place of desperation. And I have done this one too many times when I was struggling with my health, and it's easy to slip back into these patterns. But when you're desperate to heal, you will try anything. And I did. I tried everything. I don't want to talk about these dark times. Medical medium celery juicing, pounded that back. I thought that was going to be the one thing that healed me. Intermittent fasting, vegan diets, gluten-free, dairy-free, every type of expensive, fancy testing I could do, painful, invasive chemical peels and treatments for my acne, thousands of dollars in supplements, which if you follow me on Instagram, you know my opinion on supplements. The list goes on. I did all of these because I was so desperate to heal. And like I said, those decisions were made out of a place of desperation, which never ends up lasting because it's not part of the groundwork and it never will be. But now if I make a decision about my health, I always ask myself questions. I'm like, okay, am I doing this because I want to, or because someone just told me I should, and their aunt found amazing results doing this diet? Is there fancy marketing behind it that's trying to persuade me to buy it? Are there harsh guidelines and restrictions or rules that I need to follow apparently to have success? Does it focus on a restriction mindset rather than reintroducing and rebalancing? That's a really big one. These are questions that I ask myself now because I'm no longer going to waste time and money on things that will maybe work, because I have way too much respect for my body just to be throwing anything at it. Because again, it's a physical stress for your body and for your nervous system to be trying every single thing, because mentally you're trying to justify it and thinking, okay, I think this is going to work, and I know this is a thing. And physically your body is going through so much change and so much restriction, and it's really just trying to find a little bit of balance in that. So I want to help you get to a place where you are so confident in your body and in your health that no matter what fancy thing something promises you, you know you have that set foundation as a solid base, and you're not going to be on any shaky ground. This is why we cover the foundations and the bare minimum first, because like I said, it lets you build this incredibly solid foundation to build your entire life off of. So not just your health, but your relationships and your self-confidence and what you're going to be doing throughout your day. It's such a solid foundation that nothing can really shake that, which is amazing. So in Abby's case, what we did, first, we increased her calories. So women, like I said, need a minimum of 2,000 calories. Her goal was weight loss. We did this slowly, so we weren't jumping from 1,200 to 2,000 overnight. That's pretty stressful for the body. But at the same time, just like the fire analogy, you have to remember that your body needs more fuel in order to lose more. So you have to feed the fire with fuel, and that means slowly working on your metabolism and healing your thyroid. The second one was protein. So I want to elaborate a little bit on this one, because I know you've heard this before, like eat protein, protein is so important. It is an incredibly essential nutrient for gut health, for blood sugar, for muscle growth. But it's also important for increasing metabolic function, because it's going to help maintain muscle mass, which is really, really, really important for your metabolism in general. The reason it's so important is because protein or amino acids are the literal building blocks of your body. They literally build and rebuild the body. And we are constantly tearing our bodies down, not only through exercise, but through our stressful lives. So Abby, for example, did this through a really low calorie diet, through intermittent fasting, jumping into intense exercise, having a really poor mindset. All of those things are stresses on the body that slowly degrade it. And we need the protein and the amino acids to physically build it back up, which is so, so important. So how much protein should we be eating? I like to gauge it around just under to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for a 150-pound person, that would be even just aiming around like 110 to 130 grams of protein, which I know sounds a lot, but is 100% possible to do. But that is an awesome starting point. It's just starting with 100 grams. So my favorite sources of protein, first is going to be animal protein, because it's 100% bioavailable, which means your body absorbs and utilizes all of it. And plant protein is a little bit lower. It's around 50 to 60%, and you have to do a little bit of mismatching to get the amino acids right. But you may have heard the idea that muscle meats are inflammatory. And the reason this is because muscle meats are low in the amino acid glycine, which is basically like a hug for your body. It is anti-inflammatory. It preserves bone strength, muscle mass, joint motility, cellular health. It regenerates your metabolism, regulates it. It is so, so important. But because we've stepped away from nose to tail eating and eating the whole animal, where we would regularly get glycine from bone broth and bone marrow and things like that, we have to be a little bit more mindful of trying to get it. So even if this just looks like a cup of bone broth every day, it will make a huge, huge difference on just the inflammatory response that your body has, which is positive, but also needs to be balanced, because we've stepped away from that ancestral type diet, which is why I'm so big on beef liver, and you know that. So the next one is blood sugar. This is so, so foundational. And there's a big kind of almost stigma around it, that people think that they don't need to worry about their blood sugar unless they're pre-diabetic or diabetic, which is not true. Everyone and their mother should be worried about their blood sugar, not to the point where you're micromanaging it, but just to the point where you're aware of it, because it is so, so, so important. So there's 5 quick things that I want you to do throughout your day. They can feel repetitive. It can sometimes feel like a little bit of a nudge to get yourself into the habit, but once you do it, it'll become so easy, and the difference it makes is unbelievable. So the first one is eating breakfast within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up, which I know sounds terrifying to some of you, because some of you go all day without eating, and then come dinner and you're like, I should probably have something. But this sets your body up for success throughout the day. It's going to decrease your body's stress response, so it doesn't have to find its own energy through a very stressful process. And it sets your blood sugar up just to be balanced throughout the day. Instead of going on this crazy roller coaster ride, it's just going to get you off the roller coaster, which it's not a fun ride to be on anyway. The second one, again, not everyone loves me for this one, but it's coffee after breakfast. So if you can push your coffee until after you have had your breakfast, it is unbelievable, because coffee is a stimulant. It's great for your metabolism, which is awesome, but it also increases the rate at which your body utilizes glucose or sugar or energy. So having a meal first is going to ensure that you have steady hunger levels, energy levels, blood sugar levels throughout the day without revving the engine right away, without any gas in the tank, right? Third one is eating every 3 to 4 hours, or just consistently fueling your body. Again, this is just going to help you hop off that blood sugar roller coaster by preventing those ups and downs. And it's just going to give you consistent, steady energy throughout the day. And the more you work on your blood sugar, the more you'll actually notice that you have strong hunger cues. And strong hunger cues are a great sign of a strong metabolism. So that's kind of something to keep in mind while you're doing these. The next one is protein plus carbs. They are a match made in heaven, because protein lowers your blood sugar, carbs raise it. So it makes them such a perfect pair for each other. So if you're going for an afternoon snack and you're going to grab, a couple pieces of fruit, just try your best to have a couple spoonfuls of cottage cheese or, some beef jerky, just a little bit of protein just to help balance that out. It will carry you so much further, but it'll also give your body really sustainable energy rather than that quick carb. The last one, which I feel like will make up for the coffee, is a bedtime snack. I am encouraging you to eat after 7 p.m. The reason is a bedtime snack sets your body up for success while you're sleeping, because our bodies do incredible amounts of work while we're sleeping, but we need a little bit of energy to actually get that work done. It's also going to help balance your blood sugar so that you can fall asleep easier and stay asleep. So when you think blood sugar, I want you to think of it as your way of taking care of your future self, because the way that you take care of your blood sugar in the morning is going to dictate your energy levels throughout the day and how easy or how difficult it is to fall asleep. How you manage your blood sugar at night or through a bedtime snack is going to dictate how you sleep through the night. It's also going to dictate how you wake up with energy or not. So it's always thinking about your future self when it comes to your blood sugar, which is really important for success that's ongoing and long-term rather than just in the moment success, right? So that is blood sugar. It is so, so incredibly important. And I really want us to focus on it. Again, not just pre-diabetics and diabetics. It is for everyone. It doesn't have to be micromanaged, but it does just have to be, you just have to be aware of it throughout your day. The next one is minerals. Minerals, these are so, so important, and they are the literal spark plugs of your body. They're going to provide you with energy. They are the building blocks of your hormones, and they do thousands of functions throughout the body. But this is why I mentioned about Abby being the 6th out of 6 children and having 2 kids of her own, because when a woman is pregnant and goes through childbirth, she loses 4 pounds or 10% of their mineral stores, which is astronomical. And if you're doing that over and over and not remineralizing intentionally from that, you are entering every pregnancy and just every day of your life in a little bit of a depleted state, and a little bit more and a little bit more. So after 2 kids, if Abby wasn't intentionally remineralizing, it's going to take a toll on her energy levels, which was an issue, hydration, hair growth, which she was struggling with, thyroid function, which is going to dictate your ability to lose weight. All of these things come into play because you're constantly just starting from a depleted state, and we want to be kind of holding that back and making sure that we're in a surplus. So I want to talk about stress a little bit more, because we talked about this earlier, but like I said, when it comes from stress, physical stress, so a car accident, spinal misalignment, chemical stress, birth control, glyphosate in our water systems, anything like that, emotional stress, financial stress, relationships, all the rest, like I said, your body has the exact same physiological reaction every single time, no matter what. The goal for us, and the goal that I've been trying to lay for the last 35 minutes, is decreasing stress from every single angle. And this is why we lay the foundations, because when you have a solid foundation base, it actually sets your body up to be more resilient to stress, so that you can handle those things and not walk into every day depleted and wondering why your body is so frustrated. It's going to set you up with a really, really solid foundation so that nothing shakes it, so that no matter what is being thrown at you, your body's like, okay, I can handle this. And then you move on from it. And it is such an important foundation, is just decreasing stress. And that is kind of what I really wanted to focus on in the last little while, was making sure that you have that foundation, because it is so, so incredibly important. So I just want you to reflect a little bit about what we just talked about, what Abby went through, how we kind of moved towards righting the ship on that one. did you resonate? Was there anything that you felt like you either do right now? I'm seeing some head nods already. Maybe you used to do, because this one really resonated with me. That's why I chose Abby, because with the intermittent fasting, which I tried, with the low calorie diets, the intense exercise, those were huge factors, which led me to being so frustrated with my health and being in a place where I could not figure out what was going on. And it really is so important to just look for those connections in that way, because it'll just set you up with that knowledge, be like, okay, maybe this is me, and maybe this is something that needs attention, even when you maybe didn't think it did. So yeah, really hope you enjoyed learning about Abby, because she was a really fun one to work with, and it was so interesting watching her move through that. And what I mentioned at the beginning that I want to chat about now was Groundwork's first ever group program, which I am so excited about. But the reason why I wanted to run a group program was because of that disconnect that I was talking about earlier. We have been so incredibly disconnected from each other, from a support system, from approaching health with other people that understand what it is that we're trying to move through. And I know how unbelievably confusing it can be to navigate the health and wellness world. And I hope that we were able to find a little bit of clarity over the last little while. And that is what I really want to achieve in this program, is clarity, not only with yourself and the way that I'm going to run through health issues with you, but also with other people, and finding that clarity through connection, which is so powerful. So in this program, it's going to be a 7-week program where we are going to do 6 weeks of live chats just like this, where we run through different topics and making sure that we're covering those foundations to set you up with such a solid knowledge base and foundation to build your health off of, and then integrate that into your daily life. With the final call, or the final week, is going to be a one-on-one call with me, so that we can learn how to integrate all the amazing things we just learned over the last 6 weeks into your life. There's going to be 7 weeks of meal plans, progress trackers, checklists, because I'm all about checklists, email support, and then a group community and a private platform just to really let us communicate together, ask questions, and be a part of it together. So I know, like I said, that it is so confusing to navigate this world, but I really want to empower you with the tools so that you can do it yourself, because there is so much power in knowledge. And of course, you can come to me anytime that you want to create something uniquely tailored towards you and personalized through one-on-one work. But I want you to feel empowered that you know you can take control of your own health, and the power through community in order to do so is so incredible. And it just sets up such a solid foundation. So you're going to have so many people going through this journey with you, and I really want you to learn from it, and I will be there with you along the way. I have spent years learning this, not only through trial and error, but also through education and, you know, the long pathway, like I mentioned, that it took me to get to nutrition. And I really want to be able to share that with you. So what the price is going to look like, it is a $4.99 investment, but the early bird price for anyone that was in the group program for the next week is going to be $3.99. If this is something you would love to do, I would love to do it with you. I'd love to have you a part of it, because I think it's just going to be such an amazing way to connect with each other and move through it in a way that allows us so much clarity through that connection. And I think that is so powerful. So that is going to be running for the next week. And then after that, the price goes up. If you have any questions about the group program, you can always send me a message. You can ask me right now. But I just want to thank you so much for being here with me. And I just want to open up a Q&A. So if you have any questions about what it is that we ran through, Abby's situation, anything that you're going through in your health that you really want clarity on, maybe confused about a certain diet or a trend, or whether this is the right move for you when it comes to something that maybe you're interested in doing when it comes to your health, I would love to chat it through with you. Q&As are my favorite thing, so I just love running through questions with you. So yeah, if you have any, opening the floor, opening the chat, feel free to unmute yourself. But either way, thank you so much for spending this time with me. And it was so fun just to be able to connect like this. Bedtime snack. Should the rule of not eating 3 hours before sleep still be accounted for this? So I am a huge fan of bedtime snacking, and I don't think there should be a time frame. I actually recommend a bedtime snack anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes before bed, just because it actually does set your body up for success. I think where that 3 hours before bed came from is if you are going to have your huge dinner right before you hop into bed, then that can be a really heavy meal to sit in your digestive tract. It can really pull energy away from your body trying to sleep. Whereas if you give it just a little bit of energy, if you had dinner at 6, you're going to bed at 10, at 9:30, just a little snack of some Greek yogurt with some berries, some honey, something like that. It's really just going to help your body prepare for sleep. And it's not going to be anything that interrupts your sleep. It's actually going to help it, if anything. So I hope that helps. Do you guys have any other questions for me just about anything when it comes to health, group program, anything that you guys were interested in chatting about when it comes to your own symptoms or something that you're going through? Thoughts on the elimination diet and trigger foods? So I think the elimination diet is, again, another diet. It's probably a better version of one, but it focuses so much on restricting and taking things away rather than adding things in. So I like to think of it as don't shoot the messenger. So a lot of people, for example, have issues digesting gluten and dairy. It's not the gluten and dairy that's causing the issue. It's your body and your digestive tract's inability to do so or to digest properly, whether you're not secreting enough stomach acid, enough enzymes to your small intestine, whether peristalsis or that wave-like movement that your intestines do to move stool through, whatever it is in your digestive tract that isn't working the way it should, it comes up through symptoms. And then I think the actual individual foods are blamed, when if we were to heal the gut and make sure that everything's working the way it should, then it's actually going to stop those triggers or those reactions from happening from those trigger foods. So I would rather you focus on foundations first, healing the gut, and then introducing the food. So if you know it's one food that really does bug you every time you have it, there's nothing wrong with taking it out for a little bit, working on your gut health, and then reintroducing it. But when you do some sort of allergy test, you'll notice that it'll say that you're allergic to 25 different foods and foods that you probably are eating every day. It's not because of the actual foods, it's just because of the integrity of your gut. And that's what we want to focus on, rather than just eliminating certain trigger foods like that, if that makes sense. What outcomes can we expect from the group program? That's so fun. So what I really want you to walk out of this group program with is clarity is going to be the biggest one. I want you to be so clear on what it is that you can do for your health, because like I said, it is so overwhelming being in the health and wellness space. If you've ever stepped into it, or if you're just stepping into it for the first time, there is an unbelievable amount of information out there. And what one person tells you, the next person's going to tell you it's going to kill you. And it is so frustrating to try to navigate through that. So what I want to do is spend 6 weeks getting those foundations down. So gut health and blood sugar and your hormonal health and foods, and what it is that I really want you to look for, and how to step away from the diets and trends so that you can walk out of it with so much confidence in your health that you have this knowledge for the rest of your life to apply. Because it's not just 6 weeks of, yay, this is a 6 weeks program, you're going to lose some weight, you're going to feel great, and then you're done. It's 6 weeks of let's do the work. You know you're worth it. We've done the step before the action, which we talked about is the mindset work, to know that you are ready to heal and you are so capable of it and your body's worth the work, so that you can set up that foundation for long-term success, which is such an important part of it. And I just want you to walk out with clarity and also connection with other people, knowing that you are not the only one in the world going through this, because it is very easy to fall into that the way of thinking that you're the only person in the world who's dealing with acne, because I felt like that. I felt so alone and weird, but that's not it. I want you to know that there are people out there that are just as frustrated with you or with your health as you are, but I want you to have that connection and that clarity walking out of it thinking, okay, I got this. How will the group program differ from one-on-one? Is there one that's better than the other? That's a really good question. So the group program, like I said, is going to be a way to connect with other people and kind of find clarity through that, and knowing that, like I said, other people are dealing with what you're dealing with, but it's going to just allow us to cover the foundations together and do that really solid groundwork that you need to build your health on top of that. Whereas a one-on-one program is going to allow us to dive really deep into your health, because a group program just doesn't give us that until the last call. We can kind of chat about how to integrate it into your life, but one-on-one work lets us really focus on the issues at hand and the issues that your body's dealing with, and exact things that we can do to complement that and to combat those issues, which really does help us find progress in a way that is almost linear, which is great, because obviously health is never just this easy journey, but it's going to help us stay away from the diets and the trends and just move towards exactly what your body needs. But again, it's really dependent on what it is that you're looking for, the level of support you want, and what it is health-wise that you're going through, which is really going to be a determining factor. I offer free 30-minute discovery calls. So if you ever want to hop on a call and chat about the differences, about what it is that you're dealing with, and I can kind of direct you in one way or the other, then I'd be so happy to do that. Should we avoid protein powder? This is a good one. So a lot of people have issues with protein powders. Sometimes it's the don't shoot the messenger. It's not just the protein powder, it's the gut health, but a lot of times they can be really, really processed. Some people have more issues with whey than they do with casein powder. It can be a little bit easier on the digestive tract. I don't think we should avoid them totally. I don't think they should be your primary source of protein. But if you're someone who has a really tough time reaching that 100 grams of protein, then having a protein powder in there can be really helpful. I like one by ATP Labs because the protein comes from bone broth and collagen, which is really nice. So it's going to be good for the gut as well. No problem digesting that one at all. The other handy thing to have is collagen. So I don't think collagen is a lifesaver. It's not going to transform your hair, skin, your nails. It's just an extra 10 or 20 grams of protein in your day, which can be really helpful. So depending on how your gut health is, depending on how you respond to the product, that's definitely something to think about. But as for if you need them, you definitely don't. If you should avoid them, it's a totally you situation to see how your body is and how your body's going to respond to it. Are your menu plans kid friendly? Yeah, absolutely. So if we're doing any type of meal plan, we can make it as kid friendly as you want. I also have separate meal plans just for kids that I do, where we can just basically give you a solid amount of recipes that you want that are safe for your kids and that your kids are going to actually enjoy. And I've gotten really good feedback on those. So that's a fun way to introduce some healthier foods and just more variety without feeling like your kids are having to eat your meals if that's not what they're loving. But yeah, we can absolutely do that. Can you recommend protein powders that are safe for kids? I would stick with some collagen in a smoothie as an extra protein if it's going to be for that. Another really handy thing is that if your kid can handle dairy, putting cottage cheese in a smoothie sounds weird, but it makes it really creamy and delicious, but it is so packed with protein. It can really help get lots of extra protein in for your kids. But as for powders and stuff like that, it's not something that I would be doing on the regular. I would more try to go with food-based approach if that's possible, because I know it can be tough to get all of that in. Do you guys have any other questions for me before we hop off? Have you ever worked with picky eaters? Yes, there's lots of picky eaters out there. So when it comes to making meal plans, personalized meal plans, we basically just check off anything that you don't want to be eating or that you don't want to be consuming. And then we just make sure that there's none of that in there. So it can be tough to navigate around certain things, but trust me, I have worked with lots of picky eaters and it is fairly easy to navigate around as long as we're making sure that you're getting enough nutrients in general and enough protein. It's fairly easy to navigate. Hair loss recommendations. So when you think hair loss, I want you to think energy issue. So like we talked about with the thyroid, which is your body's engine, it is responsible for hair growth, for nail growth, for skin health, for your skin cells turning over. It is constantly at work on so many different issues in the body, but hair growth is complementary. So again, you don't need great, fabulous hair to live. So your body's going to pull nutrients away from that area. And you're going to be left with brittle hair, which is something that I have experienced time and time again. When I was sick, I actually had to chop my hair about here because it was so brittle. It was so thin. It was literally snapping off because my body just didn't have the nutrients or the energy or the excess that it needed to provide those non-essential functions. So when you work on your total body health and covering those foundations and then increasing your metabolism, your body has enough extra or reserved energy to go towards those issues that aren't technically life-saving. Like I said, you don't need fabulous hair to survive, but then you're going to end up with hair growth and stronger nails and healthier skin because your body has excess to go towards that, if that makes sense. Thank you for sharing tonight. You were so sweet. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you could be here. I had such a fun time. I love chatting with you and definitely want to make these a common occurrence because it's just really, really fun. What are ways to replenish minerals lost? So when it comes to replenishing minerals, I'd love to go a food first approach, as with most things that I do, but a really handy thing, if you've ever heard of the adrenal cocktail, it's basically just this little concoction of minerals. It's so, so great during the day. A lot of people notice a quick pick-me-up when they have it. It's basically a cup of orange juice, a cup of coconut water. So the orange juice is going to have minerals and vitamin C in it. The coconut water is full of potassium, which is amazing for hydration. And then a hefty pinch of sea salt, and then a couple scoops of collagen just for some protein. So that's carb and protein. That actually makes a really good bedtime snack as well. But that's just a really nutrient dense drink that you're going to have throughout the day that can give you that quick energy. But it's also just going to help replenish those minerals intentionally. The other ways to do that are through tea. If you know me, I'm a crazy tea drinker. I have a lot of herbal tea. It is so nutrient dense. It actually has a ton of minerals. So my favorite tea is nettle tea. It has probably the highest mineral concentration from a tea. And then liver, as you know, you already expected that one, full of minerals. Magnesium is one that I typically recommend supplementation for because our soils are so depleted from it. Sea salt, things like that. Those are really, really good ways to replenish minerals. It's really just through a food-based approach. And then if you want a little extra support, then through a mineral drop can be really nice. So there's one called Aussie Trace Minerals, or Concentrace. Those are two really good brands where they're just concentrated minerals and you just put a couple drops in your water throughout the day. How much should we be working out and what kind of activity? So when it comes to working out, it really depends on where you are in your health. I don't want to, kind of shun anyone away from working out. It is so incredibly important. It's one of the biggest foundations of your health. It has been proven time and time again to expand life expectancy and all the rest. But if you're in a stage where you are really struggling with your health, I want you to look towards more rejuvenating and easy exercises. So like walking, yoga, Pilates, gentle weightlifting, things like that. Cardio and intense HIIT workouts and high impact. Those are things that I would stay away from a little bit, obviously to a degree, because they're going to help your body. Well, that's going to be pushing your body to be pumping out cortisol constantly. And I really want it to be something that's productive for your body instead of something that's taking away from it. But for women, especially, weightlifting is going to be a foundation always because it is so, so important for preventative. It helps us with our muscle mass, with bone health, with blood sugar balance. It's really, really important. So I would say walking every day is so, so important. And then weightlifting is probably going to be number 2. And then just gauging where you are in your health to see what else on top of that you can handle. Collagen, Great Lakes is probably my favorite brand. It dissolves so well. I have it in my coffee because coffee makes me very jittery. I can't handle too much of it. And that is a really good one because it dissolves super, super easily. How can we join the group program now? When does it start? So I will put the link in the chat in just a minute. So it'll link you to the group program page on the website where you can look through all the information. And then there's going to be a link to buy if you want to join. It starts in 2 weeks. So the first call is going to be March 8th at night. So it's going to be around the same time. But yeah, so excited for it. So that is when it's going to start. And then it's going to be every Wednesday after that. We're going to have the call. Again, it's going to be recorded. So if you ever can't make it, then it's going to be posted to the private platform that we have where we all can chat through. But yeah, that is when it starts. I will put the link in the chat in just a minute. Is pink salt good for you? Himalayan salt is it's definitely heavily marketed. It's not superior over any type of other sea salt. It can have a higher iron concentration because of its color, which sometimes can be counterproductive towards health to a degree. I don't want to food fear anything, but I wouldn't spend extra money on pink salt just because of its marketing. A good white sea salt is awesome. What was the collagen called again? I will type it in here. It's called Great Lakes collagen, or no, it's called Great Lakes gelatin, but it's their collagen. There you go. Confusion on eggs. Oh, this is a good one. It is so frustrating hearing all the information out there on eggs. Eggs are one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. So you can hear the word superfood with all the fancy berries and all the rest in the tropical everywheres. But those aren't true superfoods the way that liver and animal proteins, especially eggs, are, because they provide the body with such foundational nutrients in such high amounts. Eggs are also one of the best foods for fertility. So if that's something that you're looking for, and just for women in general, for reproductive health, eggs are actually so incredible for that. I really get frustrated with the food mongering and the food fear that's out there, that everything's going to kill you. There are foods that obviously you shouldn't be having every day. Everyone knows that the McDonald's drive-through every single day is not going to be productive for your health. But shaming people for eating a food as natural as eggs or food that comes from the ground or from an animal leads us down a very tricky path to navigate, because it creates a lot of confusion and a lot of shame around food, which is never something that we should be feeling around food. We should only be feeling like it's something that nourishes us and something that provides us with something, instead of something that, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're eating that. It's a tricky path to go down, but eggs are incredible. They are amazing because they give your body healthy amounts of cholesterol. If you're not eating cholesterol, your body is just going to make it. That is a myth that was dispelled long, long ago, that you shouldn't be having them for cholesterol. They are great for the fats, great for protein. They're just, such an awesome all-around food with so many nutrients. Thoughts on calories in versus calories out for weight loss. This is a really good one. So we have been kind of approaching weight loss wrong. Calories in versus calories out is foundational. It's just energy balance. But instead of focusing so hard on the calories in, I want us to focus on the calories out. So what I mean by that is we can restrict and restrict and restrict, and then you end up in this cycle of you restrict calories because you want to lose weight, you see a little bit of progress, you plateau, you restrict harder, you see progress, you plateau, and then you end up eating 800 calories a day and losing your period for a year and a half like I did, because your body is in such a state of depletion. So I would rather us focus more on energy out, and through that is healthy movement, but increasing your thyroid function, your metabolism, because like I said, you need to eat more to lose more. So when you fuel that fire, it's actually going to help your body burn more calories at rest, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. And that way you're focusing more on the calories out than you are on the calories in, so that you can eat and fuel your body and feel amazing and not feel like you have to be so restrictive, but then have the output in a healthy way that is actually kind of progressive towards what we're wanting to achieve in our goals, rather than taking us back a step. I really hope I explained that right. I have a couple posts on my Instagram about that probably explained it better. But yeah, it's basically, I want you to focus on calories out through increasing your metabolic function and your thyroid, which comes from covering those foundations, rather than the calories in through the harsh restriction. So that is it. And that's a really good question. Thank you guys so much for asking those questions. I love answering them. Those are really, really good questions. Just before we hop off, because I know we're coming on an hour, I again just want to say thank you so much for being here. If you have any last minute questions, I will stick around for a few minutes if anyone wants to chat, or if you have any questions that you want to shout out. But otherwise, I cannot thank you enough for spending your evening with me. I am so grateful for you. If you have any questions about either the group program, about one-on-one work, about your health, please let me know, and I would be happy to chat with you. I will put the link to the group program in the chat right now, so that we can, or you can have a look at it if that is something that you're interested in. It is on the website either way. But yeah, otherwise, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Super informative. I'm so glad. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. And if you have any questions for me, you can always reach out through DM or on here anytime. Oh, thank you guys. So glad you were here. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night. You mentioned getting set up for one-on-one info. Just wondering when that email will come through. Yes, I will set that up ASAP. So yeah, I'm so excited to be starting with you in May. It's so exciting. Thank you, Lexi. So glad you loved it. So glad to see you here. Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. I'm so glad that you guys were able to come and just chat. Will you do discovery calls to the group program? Absolutely. Yeah. If you have any questions about the group program, or you want to see if it's a good fit for you, you are always welcome to set up a discovery call, and then we can chat about whether it is a good fit and what direction we want to take it, or whether a one-on-one program would be better for you. But yeah, discovery calls are always welcome and actually encouraged. There we go. That's better. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to end it here, but I really appreciate you coming. Like I said, if you have any questions for me at any time, you are always welcome to reach out, but I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Bye.